and go to the air.
When the sun goes back and the first quail calls, follow the drinking gourd. There's an old man who's waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd.
Good morning, everyone. Walter Parks.
Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. There's an old man who's waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Well, the riverbed makes a mighty fine road. Dead trees will show you the way. Use the left foot, peg foot, travel it on. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. There's an old man who's waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. There's an old man who's waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. Well, the river ends between two hills. Follow the drinking gourd. There's another river on the other side. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. Follow the drinking gourd. There's an old man who's waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd. There's an old man who's waiting to carry you to freedom. Follow the drinking gourd.
I see freedom.
Follow the drinking gourd.
See
Follow
show
the drinking gourd.
show me the way.
Follow the drinking gourd.
Drinking
Follow, follow,
I can see it right
follow
there.
the
Good morning, everybody.
Show me the way.
I'm Walter Parks, and this is Hymns and Hollers in May. No, not quite in May. April 2026. That was my group, the Unlawful Assembly, playing with Ada Dyer on the voice, Paul Frazier on the bass, Stephen Williams on the drums, and Andre Murchison on the trombone. Margot, if you could keep that photograph up on the screen. Let me just, well, folks are seeing that the whole time, right? Okay, so you can bring it back to me live. Let them see me. Good morning, everybody. That photograph that was up there was the Tombigbee River shoals, and I took that photograph in southern Mississippi. At that point, the river had just crossed the Alabama state line, and I started with that song for two reasons. I used to, that was a song that Richie Havens kind of turned me on to. That was an old, as they used to call them, Negro spirituals. It was a code song that foretold of a breakaway. Historians think it might have been set in southwestern Alabama, southeastern Mississippi. The river, the Tombigbee River, upon which that was set, drains into Mobile Bay. If there was an escape, if a slave managed to make an escape, he or she would have to walk up those banks. Margot, if you could show that one more time, just so they can feel it a different way. The banks are maybe about 40 to 50 feet high. Walk along those banks all the way up to the source of the river in northern Mississippi. And they would find the source, and the song's lyrics tell them, don't freak out, basically. Just walk across the hills that you see nearby, and you'll see the Tennessee River. Take that north up to where it meets the Ohio River, and walk across that in the wintertime. You had to be on the banks of that Tombigbee River in where it drained into the Mobile Bay in December. So by the time you walked across the Ohio River in Paducah, Kentucky, it would be frozen over, and that would take about a year. So I'm playing that today because, well, this week is Earth Week, Earth Day week. And this is also, Earth Day always marks for me, not just for the last, 14 or so years, 13 maybe, it will forever mark the passing of Richie Havens. Somehow he managed to die on Earth Day. And what a sad day that was. I played with Richie Havens for 10 years, almost. And Margot, I don't know if you got that shot. I found a really interesting shot online of Richie playing in London in 1971. And I think I sent it in an email, maybe a little too late, forgive me. But y'all can maybe see it on my screen here, just until Margot gives you a better look at it. I want to tell you a couple of things about this photo that I know about. First of all, there's Fender amplifiers in the background. There's a huge Fender amplifier that doesn't appear to be plugged into anything, so that's sort of harmless. But there's a Fender Bassman amplifier right behind Richie. And his bassist at the time, Eric, I think that's Eric Oxendine. I never met the man. But Richie didn't like a whole lot of low-end sound on stage. And I was constantly being asked to keep my volume down. And I find this photograph extremely interesting because here's a guy playing a precision bass, which is inherently, as a Fender bass goes, it's the most robust sounding of those, and it's basically just right behind Richie. I don't know how he was standing it, but maybe that's essentially fast forward one of the reasons I got the gig, because I represented less volume, or at least in theory, because I apparently played too loud as well. But I love Dino Williams on the left side of the photograph. He's playing, I think, a 3 pickup SG probably, or it might have been a less, no, probably an SG, through a Fender twin amp, electric guitar accompanying Richie. Again, I was always sort of discouraged from playing electric. Richie really loved my Taylor acoustic, but I just, the electric really made me feel that I just enjoyed playing it. And I love the way Dino looks with that fur cap and the Gibson SG. There's not a cooler guitar. But they have a microphone on his Gibson SG, and that's just hilarious. It's an electric guitar, but there's a microphone on it. Nonetheless, he still has a cable going into the Fender twin amplifier. This is 1971, and these guys are playing in London, and there's a multi-tiered balconies behind them, and I assume the whole room is like this. It's just a bizarre picture. The curtains that kind of separate themselves from the audience. The gentlemen in the audience who are all, and maybe these aren't, come to think of it, these guys, that's not the audience. Those guys are up there on those tiers, ready to play with some other band. Those are musicians, or symphony musicians probably, now that I look at it. They have tuxedos, they have music stands, they have long charts, wide charts that gives me the idea they're probably playing probably classical music. I don't see any violins or anything. Do you have that picture of? Oh, it's fascinating. So God knows where Richie was here, but what's with the netting that separates the curtains from the activity, the netting? That gives me the feeling maybe they were playing in a hockey arena or something. Those netting, that kind of netting was used to keep pucks from going into the spectators. Who knows? It's just a great photo, and Richie's all in wearing black and turtleneck, and that was 2 years after Woodstock, and so I don't know. This is just the only person in this photograph who I ever had the honor of knowing beside Richie is I think that's Emil Latimer from Buffalo on the conga. Emil played for years with Nina Simone, and I think got Richie a gig with Nina as well. I can't imagine Richie playing with Nina Simone. That's just unfathomable to me. It's just, I mean, you have to, what do you do with Nina Simone? You play chords behind her? Why do you play chords behind Nina Simone? She's already very full, but you know what? That's the nature of being a sideman. And I think, from what I understand, in the early 60s or mid 60s, Richie was working with her as well. I would just pay good folding money to hear a recording of that. Let's get a little sacred this morning. For Earth Day, we can, I don't know if there's it doesn't matter the scene. Let's just listen to this record for a second. I found this, let me show this to you. In honor of Earth Day, I combed through the Euclid Records here in St. Louis, which is a great store. And they also have one down in New Orleans. And this is called Sacred Records, made in managed in Los Angeles, California. What's the date on this one? It doesn't say. But anyway, Sacred Records. I paid $20 for this for y'all, by the way. So speaking of that, if you want to give a donation, I wouldn't turn it down. Every week I try to find some different records for you, but this is a real special one. And the record store knew that a guy like me would come along, and some weirdo would buy this, and I mean, I could easily have found this for 50 cents probably in a Salvation Army or something, but But here I am paid $20 for this. Look at this thing. Just look at the cover of it. Can you see that? This is a label that features the world's great Christian artists. And this one is Ralph Platt in God's Great Outdoors. And he is, somebody's playing organ. Lauren Whitney is playing pipe organ, while Ralph Platt does bird calls. So I think this is perfect for this Sunday Earth Day morning. And by the way, hold on, before I start spinning this thing, this is the original pressing. I'm holding this up to the light so you can maybe see through it. This is red see-through vinyl with black interspersions in it, if that's a word. Black residue in it, and it's one of the coolest looking records I've ever seen. And this is original. Oh yeah, I love it. Nothing sounds like that. This is called I Walked Today Where Jesus Walked. Absolutely fantastic. Ralph Platt and the birds sing his praise. Um, I just don't think it gets any better than that. We might have to come back to another selection of that one. If not for only the color of the vinyl. Walter Park's here. It's Hymns and Hollers. I am hopefully just about out of the woods with my hand surgery. You can, if she's doing a shot. I've still got my brace on. Tomorrow I take my splint off and begin playing the guitar again. So I've been playing the bass a little bit with my my two available fingers, and I think I'm going to be okay. I have a tour that I start in 2.5 weeks, and it takes me all the way from New England down to Florida. Pretty much just going to skip over the middle part. Let's talk about those dates. If you're, let me see, get this. This is super unslick here, but this is all right. Appearances. If you're in Beverly, Mass, or up around there, May 8th, I believe May 8th is, excuse me, starting May 7th, which I know to be a Thursday night, we're going to kind of kick things off with my group, The Unlawful Assembly, at the Red Lion Inn in Stockbridge, Mass. I always think of Norman Rockwell when I think of Stockbridge, and I think he was from there. It's one of those venues that if knowing some of the places I play, you'd probably come in and go like, what are you playing here for? Number one, it's a historical inn. It's a historic inn, and it's just a great scene, and I hope I enjoy it because I've always wanted to play there. Some of these, that's one of the things about me. I don't pick my venues sometimes because they're great for my career or whatever. These will be classic venues, and I just have a desire every now and then to smell the beer and piss, and it just kind of brings the music back to where it's like a proving ground for a band, for my band, to see if I really still have it to get people reacting to the music from the hips down, so to speak. So I continue on May 8th, which would be a Friday night, I think, to the Off Cabot at the Cabot Theater in Beverly, Mass. And then the next night we go to the Marial Center in New Milford, Connecticut. And I've got some friends up in that area I hope to see. And then I wind down that run. And in Hoboken, New Jersey, I'll be playing a sort of an abbreviated version of the group with Stephen Williams on small cocktail-style drum kit. And we play at the 503 Social Club in Hoboken, New Jersey. It's right down the hill from Jersey City, near and dear to Margot and I. And so we hope to see folks. And the following weekend, I'll be in St. Augustine, Florida, at an event called Live from Waterworks. And then I scoot down to just below Disney World. Thank God, skipping over that place. May 17th, which I believe is a Sunday, and that'll be at the Graham Parsons Dairy Down in Winter Haven, Florida. And I conclude the very next weekend at the Florida Folk Festival. I don't know what I'll be playing at the Florida Folk Festival, except for a lot of my Swamp Research music. I've got some new ones, by the way, some new hollers I've found in the archive, and I'll be doing some of those. Let's see what happened since I saw y'all last, and I was super inspired by two groups that we heard this week. Margot, darn it, I forgot to have it queued up. One of the groups called the Little Mercies, and I don't even know where their CD is now, but we saw the Little Mercies, which is a trio of young ladies from Tallahassee, Florida. They do kind of bluegrass and old-time music, and mandolin, violin, or fiddle, two fiddles sometimes, and a banjo player. They're fantastic. I met them at the Florida Folk Festival a couple of years ago, and they came through St. Louis the other night, on Wednesday night. If you get a chance to hear the Little Mercies, y'all just go check them out online. Maybe on, I will play something of theirs on the break, or after a break. But, and also the next night, Margot and I went to Columbia, Missouri, and saw Pat Metheny. Y'all see that CD here? Yeah. My gosh, folks, if you are Pat Metheny fans, do not miss his current touring show. It's called Side Eye 3 Plus. The incredible Chris Fishman is on keyboard. He's a young guy who he's just obviously of genius stature. Joe Dyson plays drums, and I really didn't know who these band members were until we saw the concert. And the way, it just the instrumental prowess, the musicianship reminds me. The musicianship of this full group it kind of has the overall drama, impact, and effect of Weather Report. I mean, if you were a fan of Weather Report and you liked what they did in terms of a modern interpretation or manifestation of jazz, that was still kind of tangible and not too far outside, which I think is an apt or realistic definition of Weather Report. I mean, it's hip as hell, but it was not too far outside. I'm not going to play you a Pat Metheny Side Eye song because we've been getting some warnings about playing music that's sort of too current and copyrighted and so on. But I will play you a song of mine that was inspired by Pat Metheny's work. And this is, but anyway, let me speak just a little bit more about Pat Metheny here. On this tour, he not only plays music from this brand new record, but he also touches on some of his older songs. For instance, he does a song that he played on one of his early Pat Metheny group albums called Phase Dance. And when he first starts it, you think, okay, I can't believe he's playing something this old and this iconic. But then two of the band members just leave the stage right after he starts it. And it's almost as if they leave in a surprise. It's just almost as if they're saying to the audience, well, he obviously doesn't need us, so we're just going to go back and have a cup of coffee or something. You don't know why they're leaving, but so Pat Metheny and Chris Fishman just play the song just as a duo. Really, Chris is playing a very full accompaniment on piano, and Pat's playing his guitar part. And it's just, you don't miss a thing. Originally, it was done with electric bass and drums, but you don't miss a thing. And then he plays First Circle a little bit later with the full band. That's the one that's in 11 at times, and it's one of the great classic Pat Metheny epic songs. I think the original recording did have Pedro Aznar singing on it, late 70s or early 80s, and what a masterpiece that song is. Anyway, I'm bringing up First Circle to let you know that when I heard that the other night in Columbia, Missouri, Missouri, as Pat Metheny calls it, because he's from Missouri. When I heard him do that, I had the urge to kind of chastise, to admonish myself, or just say, I wish I was more inspired by Pat Metheny. He's really revving me up here. I just want to go home and really dig into what I know about music harmony and write in more of a complex way. And then I came home and I said, I've already done that. I've already kind of been through that period. I was highly influenced by Pat Metheny, especially with my group, The Nudes. And I want to play for you an example of it. I'm not saying that I'm in his league in terms of knowledge of music harmony, and I definitely don't have his chops. But I'm saying this is a song that kind of is epic in nature, that we recorded with Gilad Dobrecki, a musician, a percussionist from Israel, and I think Isi Nahum, also an Israeli musician, recorded on this record. We did it in, I think we did the basic tracks for this at Diodado's studio in Tribeca in Manhattan in New York City, and probably finished it up in St. Augustine, Florida, at Jim DeVito's place. But let's, I'm real proud of this one. It was a song that I wrote about this time of year. It was a little earlier in the year. It was late March, early April. And it was just, the winter was not letting up, and I was getting a little bit punchy about it. I was living in a high-rise in Manhattan at the time, and so this is a song of essentially the lament, not the lamenting, but it was the hope and the waiting of a man from Florida, me, just wanting the warm weather to be there already. So this is called Hope and Waiting. Okay, this was actually Randy Crafton on percussion and drums. Sorry, Randy. Ooh. And this is Stephanie Winters on the cello. Yeah, super proud of that. That was once again myself and Stephanie Winters. She's a cellist, still is a cellist, or she was. Sorry about that. Stephanie and I toured, from roughly 1991 through around 1998. That's the CD cover. We didn't do any vinyl. Maybe someday we'll release vinyl. That's going to take some doings. I'm not sure. But anyway, the players on that record, Margot and I got prepared a little on the tight end of the show today, but I didn't have my notes with me, and I should know this because the first record meant so much to me at that time. Walter Parks, that's me, played guitar, bass, and I sang. Stephanie Winters played cello, and she sang. And Randy Crafton was our only guest on that record. Not Gilad Dubrecki, not E6 Hymns. The Israeli crew came in for the following record, which was called Velvet Sofa, and a lot of that we recorded at Electric Lady Studios. What I did get right on this record is that most of this was recorded in St. Augustine, Florida, and the early tracks were laid. Some of the tracks were laid at Deodato's studio. I'm trying to find the name of it. Looking at the liner notes, sort of feel bad about that. It doesn't say. We didn't put it on there. But anyway, it was Deodato's studio in Tribeca in New York City. Wow, what an interesting run Stephanie and I had. She now tours the world with Suzanne Vega. And there was a time when Stephanie and I were the band for Richie Havens. And that was interesting times as well. I'm most proud of a video that we did, or that you can find online, of Richie Havens at the Newport Folk Festival. I want to talk a little bit more, get back into the environment if we can. And Margot, if you could put up the picture of the conservation fund, if you could. A year ago, well, first of all, let me back up. I know that a lot of you know that one of my projects as of late, pretty much since the COVID, I guess, has been really doing a deep dive of the music that was made in the Okefenokee Swamp in southeast Georgia. My loyal listeners already know this, but for new listeners, and we're getting a lot of those every week, know that I have studied music that was archived in the Library of Congress and recorded in the early 1940s. People who lived out on the islands in the swamp were at that point had been helping in the clear cutting of the swamp and the harvesting of lumber. Most of the first growth cypress trees were cut down. I mean, the swamp at that point between 1900 and 1920 was pretty much shaved bare of first growth cypress trees. Now, when I say the people were helping with that, they were either working for the people who lived out on the swamp. Some of the families were doing what human beings do, which is to make their living off nature. And at that point, we didn't have this sort of consciousness that, I think people's relationship to nature was, in a certain way, more cooperative back then, in that people could survive off nature. But we didn't really quite understand how gingerly we needed to treat nature so that she could regenerate herself, so that we could continue to live off her. There was a time, for instance, again, and I don't want to, I'm still in contact with the people, a lot of the families that grew up in the swamp. I have much respect for them in that they survived off nature for 100 years out in the swamp, and I'm very grateful for their help in helping me to archive some of the music that their relatives made. But there were issues. There would eventually be issues with overhunting, and certainly there was an issue with the overharvesting of the timber. Now, if you go out there and take a canoe trip up Minnie's Lake all the way to the headwaters, or where the Swanee River begins, it's you would think nothing happened, but a lot of the cypress trees have, in 100 years, come back, but of course not to their original level of grandeur. But that's I would argue that man's aggressiveness with nature is also nature, in a certain way. I mean, that's, people are here, nature's here. I'm not saying that I want all the trees chopped down, but now we know that that's not a good thing to do. And but there was this mentality at the time in the 1900s, early 1900s, of drain the swamp. That's where the expression came from. I don't know that it came from the Okefenokee, but it probably came from either there or the Great Dismal Swamp in Northern Virginia, closer to Washington, D.C. Drain the swamp. The swamp was considered to be just wasteland that needed to be filled and cultivated properly. Land didn't make any sense to people if you couldn't raise livestock on it or grow crop on it. And that's just the way people thought it at that point. So, and even fast forward up to the modern day. Well, let me back up. So the companies that were out in the swamp with their steam engines and laying the railroad track on across boards so that they could pull the logs out of there with trains and so on. They left a mess when they were done in around 1920, and during the WPA times of FDR, he created jobs and put men to work, post-depression. And one of the jobs that he gave, he sent a corps of black men down into the swamp, about 200 or 300 men, and they just cleaned out of the old boilers and the old engines and pulled out the railroad track and all of that stuff. And they worked on that for many, many years. I'm still trying to find out if they made any music out there. The only music that's archived in the Library of Congress really is white folks singing and so on. But anyway, fast forward to the present time. This time last year, a major titanium mine proposition was squelched and put to rest. And folks who were environmentally inclined in that area of Folkston, Georgia, were all up at arms, but they couldn't figure out how they were going to stop this titanium mine. And it was a company that was based out of Birmingham, and they were trying to convince people, look, we're not going to hurt the swamp, even though they were right there. The border of the titanium mine was right next to the border of the Okefenokee Swamp, and they were going to mine very close to what they call the Trail Ridge, which is a natural raising of land that kind of separates the swamp from the St. Mary's River. What the original intention was in dredging the swamp is to bust through the Trail Ridge so that the swamp would drain into the St. Mary's River, but it didn't work that way. The water was flowing a different direction, and they never. Plus, by the time they dredged 12 miles and got to Trail Ridge, it was too hard for them to get through. So they never made it to the St. Mary's River to even attempt that. But they got darn close. They got within a couple of miles of it. But in the present day, some folks that had a mineral plant called Twin Pines Minerals out of Birmingham were pushing to mine for titanium. And around this time last year, an organization called the Conservation Fund, basically it's a nonprofit that buys at-risk lands for preservation, announced that they had paid $60 million to buy the land that Twin Pines Minerals owned. So they put a stop to the project. And that was 8,000 acres. The group, the Conservation Fund, also acquired the underlying mineral rights to the land, blocking mining along the area known as the Trail Ridge, along Sandy Ridge Formation adjacent to the refuge. And scientists and activists had warned that mining there could damage the integrity of the swamp, as well as the historical and cultural assets. So anyway, I did a little studying and thinking right before I went to bed last night, and I was thinking, all right, okay, if I'm going to get on the air and I'm going to yak about the need to prohibit the titanium mine from being right next to a swamp that I dearly love, I owe it to myself just to find out what in my life has to do with titanium. Well, we need titanium in the modern world. There's a lot of things we do that sometimes if you're in an accident or something, you need a pin put in your leg. A lot of times those are titanium in the present day. It's stronger than steel, and it's extreme. It's lighter. A lot of airplane parts are made out of titanium. But what I found was interesting is that during the Apollo excuse me, I'm going to move this cable, so it's going to create a little bit of noise. During the Apollo moon project in the 60s and early 70s, they brought back some rocks with them from space, and they have analyzed those rocks, and they have a very high, like 40 to 60% of the composition of those rocks is titanium, the moon rocks. Think about that. We are, if you, the mining of titanium on this planet is an arduous process. They have to crush the rock and steam it and press it and stomp on it like they stomped on grapes. Not exactly, but they do this with heavy machinery. It's a very expensive and long process. The input is a lot of material and the output is very little material, but it's precious material. And the percentage of yield of titanium per whatever the figure is, per dirt or per rock or whatever, is very low. But on the moon, the rocks have a very high percentage of titanium. So I'm wondering, what are we wanting to go to the moon for, if you know what I'm saying? But maybe that'll be cool, because we don't, nobody lives up there yet. And but I did wonder, what are we going up there for? So folks, I want to call your attention to the Conservation Fund as Earth Day looms here. That you can give money to them. There's also a website, maybe Margot. I don't know if it's up, and y'all can get that from the website. Let me see if I can get it for myself, if you wouldn't mind. Let's see, Margot. Maybe we can play a video next. This is I want to play the Green Fields of Rosby, which would be more of the Irish pronunciation of it. It's also called, I believe, the Kerry Reel, and this is a song that I did with Jagoda and accordionist Rob Curto, and let's see here. I'm trying to get a picture of the Conservation Fund. You'll figure it out. So I just thought this wonderful Irish song that was inspired by a field would be a good one for Earth Day coming up. And I hope at some point this year to reform swamp cabbage in a way that it's never been before. This will probably be in the fall or later when we start recording. I won't be able to tour at that point, but we'll do 2 or 3 songs, and this will be one of them. We're going to take some old Irish songs and some of the songs from the Okefenokee Swamp, but it'll be accordion. It'll be the basic trio of swamp cabbage, which is a rock and roll format. Jagoda on drums, New Orleans style. Matt Lindsay on bass, the original bassist, and myself on guitar, and Rob Curto on accordion. So it'll be a 4-piece, and I can't wait to get on with that project. That's going to be fun. So Margot, if you could play that video, The Green Fields of Rosby. Okay, I guess we're back on. I'm just so inspired by. I want to say though, I'm inspired by playing with Rob Kurto and Jagoda in that video, but we were just starting. We were just like, can we do this? Does this make sense? Does it sound right? And we weren't that comfortable with each other yet, but what Rob and I evolved into as two frontmen, if you will, because Rob has his own group and he's quite well known in the Philadelphia area. But when we play together, man, we work off each other. We've known each other for years. We enjoy being around each other. And Rob is such an excellent musician. He raises everyone on stage up to a whole new level, and we help him to keep rising. He's a phenomenal musician, and I really hope you can check out some of his music. I should next weekend I'll play some things that Rob and I have done as well. So Rob and I and Jagoda toured as Swamp Cabbage during the COVID, and our last gig was something like the beginning of March or something. And we were traveling around right as the COVID was kicking up, and we just didn't know what lay ahead. But we had a great time, and I can't wait to keep that going again. So let's see. I think it's time to go to church. You know, I want to try to. This is a sermon by Reverend Cleophas Robinson, and unfortunately, this record tells me nothing as far as where this was put to vinyl. All I know is that it's a label called Randy's Spiritual Record Company out of Gallatin, Tennessee, which is Gallatin's near Nashville. But I'm just going to drop the needle on the side one, and here's it takes him a while to get going. A lot of the preachers take a while to rev up. So if you know, can y'all see that? It's called a Wild Bull Christian. A Wild Bull Christian. And this whole record is a sermon. And the way the sermon records work, it's the wonderful, the most, this is showbiz education. A sermon record, a sermon LP is showbiz education in one piece of vinyl. And these guys know how to create the arc of an exciting presentation. They just talk first about what scripture it's going to be. We're going to turn now to 1 Corinthians, verses 20 point whatever, and they froth you up a little bit, and they bring you back down. They froth you, and by the end of side one, you're on the edge of your pew, and these guys, by the time you flip that record over, you're standing up. And you're standing up all the way through the rest of that sermon. Now, he's talking about a wild bull Christian here. Let's see. It's all one sermon. So I'm going to just guess as far as where it is on the record.
Lord have mercy. Let's see here. Yeah. A wild bull Christian. Yeah. A bull. Yeah. Is a strange animal. Yes. Lord have mercy. Yeah. Yes. Christians who are dedicated. Yes. Are strange looking. Yeah. Lord have mercy. Yes. You don't catch a bull looking like a mule. My Lord. Oh yes. No other animal has the tendencies of a bull. My Lord, my Lord. Because when a bull gets ready to attack, he puts his head down and attacks his enemies by plunging forward. No person can ignore the intention and the meaning of a bull. For he goes forward. And the person he's after, he knows he better get out of the way in a hurry. Lord have mercy. To catch a wild bull, you got to put up a good fight. This is the great trouble with so-called church people in this 20th century. 80% of them don't want to fight. A financial burden will run them home. A dissension in the church will run some of them home. Oh, yes. If they can't be the big apple, the big red apple, or the big yellow orange, outstanding for everybody to see, then you go on home and say, well, if I can't run it, I ain't gonna have nothing to do with it. Yes, if you run it, you're gonna run it in the river too. If they can't make the preacher a sweet water preacher, one thing wrong with our world today. We got too many preachers act like the folks. Got the key to your smokehouse. You scared to tell the truth. A preacher that won't tell the whole truth is just like a dumb dog, the Bible says. That's in the backyard and won't bark when it see an enemy coming. What you want to feed a dog for, and he won't even bark to let you know somebody is trying to break in your house. Oh, you might well wake up here tonight. Oh, yes. Let's see here. There are a lot of folks who come to church talking about, I ain't got no money. You done spent it all before you got here. Talking about must Jesus bear the cross alone. And all the world go free. For there, the cross for everyone. And a cross for me. Then they turn around and say, well, oh yes, I'm going to bear my cross. But you sure ain't doing much with it. Oh yes. You can't go to church with a headache. You'd rather believe on an Anderson, an aspirin, better than you will the Holy Ghost. Many times when you come to church, you don't feel well. The Spirit of God will move your misery. Somebody know I'm telling the truth? Oh, yes. The psalmist said, but my horn shall thou exhort like the horn of a wild ox. I shall be anointed with fresh oil. Oh, yes.
That's fantastic. You know, he says that you would, he uses the word Anison, and I laughed because I hadn't heard that word in so long. Anison was an aspirin type thing. We use Tylenol and Advil and Aleve and all that stuff nowadays, but Anison was one of those brands during the 60s and 70s that people took. You know, basically, he was saying, you'd rather take Anison than listen to the word of the Holy Ghost and the Holy Spirit and so on. Just fantastic stuff. I want to delve into that one a little more as we move along and worship together here at Hymns and Hollers. My name is Walter Parks. Got a couple of more minutes with you, but what I try to do is to dance with spiritual issues and bring up issues of creativity. That's what drives me. That's my passion. I'm always considering or reconsidering why I'm an artist, why I stay in the game. At this point, as Randy Crafton says, I'm a lifer. He might say that I'm a laughter too, but I'm a lifer, and I'm proud of that. But along with that comes tremendous self-doubt sometimes, and I just wonder, gosh, do I have any positive effect? Am I making the world a better place? But I have to say, what's more important to me than any other thing as an artist is I've whittled it down over the years to this. I just want my work to be identifiable. I want people to say, okay, yeah, that guitar bit there, or that song, or the treatment of the song, that's Walter Parks. And I think that's really the goal of an artist. I mean, I think a lot about what is the real thing. You know, what people tell me all the time. Yeah, man, you're the real thing, and I'm like, well, thank you. It makes me feel good. I'm proud of that, but who knows really what the real thing is? It's one of these things that we have an understanding of, but nobody can really define it. And I think, you can. What I do know is what the real thing is not. It's not tickets sold. It's not whether or not your painting is hanging in a major museum. It's not. Is there a line out the door at the club waiting to get in to see you? It really is how close and how truthfully you're heading towards where your personal compass points as an artist. How true are you staying to these creative urges and what your imagination tells you that you can be? And at the end of the day, I wonder if that's really kind of what Christ was teaching us. Is the key to what you're capable of is within you already. And it reminds me of that saying of Michelangelo and the rock, and the statue. The David is already in that rock. It just has to be chiseled. The rock has to be chiseled away, and the David's in there. And the David is in every one of us. We can be as great as we possibly can be. I believe that every person has that potential. Some of us waste it, and I'm proud to say that I'm going for it. You know, I would hope that my work, be it spinning records at this moment or touring to come see y'all on the road, inspires you to stay on course and be as true to your own creative compass as possible. What is it? How can you bring out the best that you're capable of? And that, to me, if there's a definition of the real thing, it would be like, okay, that person is stayed true to their compass. And that's what I so much loved about the Pat Metheny concert the other night. This guy, no moss grows under this guy. He's always trying new things, and even if he's playing old material, he's trying to do it in a new way. It's fantastic. I want to do a song, kind of conclude with a song in Richie Havens' honor, if you will. This is one that I recorded on a record called Cathedral, and I always had wanted to do a full concert on Richie Havens' old acoustic guitar. I'm looking to see. No, I don't have it over on the stand with me. A lot of you who've seen me live know that I travel around and play this thing. It's a 1967 Guild. But for this whole concert, I played nothing but Richie's old guitar. And this is in 2016. in a cathedral called the Grace Church in downtown Jersey City. And Margot, I've been thinking lately, maybe we're due for a follow-up of that. I have a bunch more new music covers and so on that I have reimagined, and maybe it's time to get back to Jersey City and record a cathedral too. I would love that. But this is a song that Richie recorded, and it sounds like, I'm not sure what they're talking about, but it's a song of Peter Gabriel's that Richie recorded on Peter Gabriel's OVO album at the turn of 2000, the year 2000, and it's called The Time of the Turning, and to me it strikes me as a reminder that we better get right with forces that are bigger than us. We better get right with the environment and the forces that make creativity just seemingly appear magically and out of nowhere. Whatever that force is, maybe it's, as the neo-hippies say, it's the universe. Maybe it is God, but I have a hard time even going there because I want to visualize everything, and I just have a hard time with that. But at the very least, it all seems to work out, and this is one that I'm very proud of. I'm going to close with this. So at the end of this, we're gonna go off, and I will see you next week. It's going to be an interesting show because my dear wife, and in this case, my engineer for the show, she will be on the road in doing a tour of Colorado with her longtime friends, and I'll be here going it alone, and I don't know how we're going to pull this off but we're going to flip the board around, and I'll have to be an old school DJ, so y'all can either tune in and watch me fall flat on my face, and that'll be real, or maybe it'll be something that's maybe this will be the start of a new way of doing it. But anyway, y'all take care. It's Walter Parks. Please donate if you can to this. I buy records every week, but more than that, it's it just hopes the funds just help to keep me on the road. It helps to pay musicians to keep this project and the Swamp Music Project and anything else, the Spirituals Project, on the road. I'll take donations, large or small, and we really need it. The arts are kind of in jeopardy in these modern times. But these are the times of the turning. Thank you. I'm Walter Parks. Hymns and Hollers.
In the big house where the sun lives, with the walls so white and blue, in the red soil, all the green grows, and the winds they blow across your face, they blow. It's the time of the turning. There's something stirring outside. It's the time of the turning. We better learn to say our goodbye. out through the ground. They reach out through. It's the time of the turning. There's something stirring outside. It's the time of the turning. The whole world's falling. Nothing you can do to stop the next emerging. It's the time of the turning. We better learn to say our goodbyes. If we can stand up when all else falls down, we'll last through the winter, we'll last through the storm, we'll last through the north winds that bring down the ice and snow. We'll last through the long nights till the green fields growing again, growing again. In the big house where the sun lives, with the walls so white and blue, it's the time of the turning. There's something stirring outside. It's the time of the turning. The whole world's falling. Nothing you can do to stop the next emerging. It's the time of the turning. We better learn to see our